to envy, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, it should be live. We should be on. I'll give it a second. It sometimes just needs to fire up and get going, which is good timing because I think they're resetting the lobby. Oh no, the dreaded commercial to start. I always forget. That's why there's a lag. People have got to watch the adverts. Yeah. And then on the recording, it's not there. So.
Okay, now I see a picture.
Alright, so we've got round 6, Interlagos, the Swedish Racing League. And I've got Mixter with me on co-commentary. Thanks for joining me, mate. Pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Not at all. You're actually probably saving me more than hosting you, to be honest. You, as a former driver and broadcaster, hoping you're gonna definitely make my life a whole lot more fun for this hour. So thanks for chipping in, mate. And
yeah, well, we're helping each other because you have awesome stream gadgets and stuff, with me just directly broadcasting from the PlayStation, so this is going to be a bit more advanced.
Hopefully so. That, or we're going to see a big crash message halfway through. I'm not going to hear a word you're saying. But fingers crossed. When the chat catches up.
Notify us.
Yeah, exactly. I'll get people to let me know if anything's jumping. But fingers crossed. The only thing I've got to watch is that my internet survives this whole show. But so far so good, hopefully. Let's bring everyone back online. So yeah, we're at Interlagos and we are about to go live in the final qualifying round for the top drivers. You may just want to recap how that qualifying works for us, because you were just telling me off stream how that system works. I found that fascinating.
Yeah, so Bornhall has been, working on quite a half sophisticated system with an actual bot that takes previous qualifying sessions and where people place themselves, and I think it also includes how they place themselves in racing. So right now we're looking at qualifying lobby number 1, which is like the top drivers who has the most points in this system. So we have 3 qualifying lobbies, and we put drivers that are on almost the same pace together, so nobody gets like hampered down by a bit slower drivers. Generally speaking, everybody in the Swedish Racing League is pretty fast, but
yeah,
like in Formula 1.
That's something I've noticed even from the last 2 broadcasts, man. The closeness and the sort of relentlessness of it. It was just keeping up in a commentary perspective was a big challenge. So I've got quite a lot of respect for these guys. Huge consistency as well.
Yes. There's also rules set for, like, if you don't drive fair and square, and we do have an administration group as well who takes in complaints from drivers and such, and we also save all the replays and watch all the replays to see that nothing sketchy is going on, like people punting each other or just driving unfairly, and take that into consideration. And also we have a penalty list, like for if you shunt the driver, if you miss your braking point, you get penalized for it. Either you get penalized, maybe a grid penalty or a points penalty or something like that.
And so it's going to have a knock-on for the next stages of your season. It doesn't kind of get unnoticed.
No, it doesn't. Like, we have about 40 drivers, and everybody, almost every race has something to say. So, and also people save replays.
Yeah, so there's more than enough evidence.
Oh yes, and also when you save the replay, you can look from every different angle. You can see when people brake and when people don't, and if they're driving unfairly, you might just get kicked from the series, with an opportunity, of course, to come back if you prove yourself in more open lobbies that it isn't the actual series.
Yes.
They also drive in like smaller, like daily series challenges.
So that community is one you want to look after, isn't it? For all
Yes,
of those
definitely.
reasons. Just to say, hey, Jules, welcome to the room if you're there. You're joining us for the SRL, the Swedish Racing League. This is round 6 at Interlagos. We're about to kick off qualifying. The guys look like they're just getting set up on the optimum tyres. I believe it's the top 8 who must start on mediums in the race. Am I right there, Mixter?
Yeah, if they haven't changed the rules, it should be the top 8 who has to start on mediums, and the remainder of the field can start on whichever tire they want.
Okay, so that's quite a spicy kind of kickoff, because you know in the back half of the field could be on a much more aggressive strategy going into the first few laps at least.
And if these drivers, if you look at the A lobby, like these are the fastest drivers in the league. I mean, if you look towards like the top 5 and then like those like in the midfield, it's not much between these guys. And if they're on softer tires and they can have a faster pace, they can overtake.
Yeah, and I guess the guys on mediums have to be aware of that and plan that into their race, knowing they might not be on the sprint tire at that point.
Exactly.
Metalhead, thank you for joining us. Thank you for hosting. We've seen you before here for these series. Good to see you back, mate. I've got Mixter here, guys. Mixter is a co-commentator for the race and a former racer in the series, so he knows far more than I do, and he's going to be making sense of what I can't make sense of for sure. And I think we're about to see our first flying laps. Looks to me like Slipstream is good to go, am I right? The guys don't have to separate.
I think Slipstream is on. The only thing that is turned off is fuel depletion.
Okay, of course.
Everybody's running full fuel, so they can go like full blast the first laps.
Yeah, and I guess using each other's cars isn't a problem either. They're not being asked to separate on track. It looks like.
I'm not too sure about that, if they've changed rules for this season, since I haven't been updated on the rules.
Yeah.
Are overlooked towards each like after each season, so there might have been a change there, but I think Slipstream is allowed.
Okay. It looks like it. I can see. I mean, cars that actually aren't on the same lap, but I can already see them grouping up a little bit. So it looks like a very opportunistic, take what you can kind of session. Yeah. I think I thought it was Fearpennon, but it's actually whoever's further back on the grid, just getting sideways on what is probably their first flying lap. So we're already straight into the action.
And being in the Slipstream is a bit of a double-edged sword when you're in the corner section.
Of course, yeah, that middle sector is not going to do you favours, is it? That dirty air, the wash effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Can be as destructive to lap times as it is, but then you get to the back end here, the sort of triple straight that makes one huge run to the start finish, which is going to build that time back. So Fearpennon looks like he's set the time to beat so far, but we're waiting for a few more guys to come through here. Let's drop further back. So West, they're in 4th. T5 sets the 5th fastest time. Look at the margins. It's barely a 10th between the drivers again.
Yep.
Now, we've got several laps to come, so I think it's a good 10 minutes this session. So we'll keep an eye out as the guys get their rhythm going. I can see if we can pick up who's coming across the line. I've got no reference points yet, so we're just going to work our way through. No, I was going to try and pick up who crossed the line there, but it's not someone who's just set a top 2 or 3 there, so we'll keep an eye out. But we'll try and track these guys as they come onto their, what I believe is their second hot lap in most cases. Fearpennon with kind of a mixed bag of results lately. In round 4, I believe, had an awesome run at the Blue Moon Infield Speedway, and I think took the overall win there. The last race, round 5 at Dragon Trail, had some crazy unfortunate luck and ended up a good 30 seconds, minute off the field. So I did unfortunately miss what happened to him there, but definitely wasn't his lucky day. So I think we're going to see a bit of a return from Fearpennant here. He's going to be, I think, full of it.
Yeah, this is I think this is the second season Fearpennant drives the Lamborghini.
Okay.
I think he drove it last season as well, and he had some really bad luck as well when they were racing on. Is it called Willow Springs?
Yeah.
Track in the desert.
Yeah.
Where he flew straight off the course while I was commentating.
And you've got to find the right words for that situation, haven't you?
Yeah, it's like I was following Spoil, and then I just saw a car just like flying past the camera behind Spoil, I think, and I just had to replay and just see what happened, and it was quite a commotion. And he was doing really well as well.
Yeah, and that luck tends to follow you around for a while when it starts happening. It does tend to sort of stay with you, so fingers crossed we'll get a clean run from him today. Right, let's keep an eye out. It looks like he's not currently on a flyer, so we might be seeing Fearpennant refueling and recharging. We don't need to refuel, but
just change the tires.
Get some fresh boots. Solon, very, very close competitor with Fearpennant. It's been, I believe, top of the tables at the minute. I'm going to have to check the standings. No, that's a Razor at the top. I'm completely sending you off on one there. Solon's been high up, actually, in many races, but I don't see him yet making progress in the standings. A little bit unusual there, actually. I can't actually see him on the tables.
I think I have to look into that. Table up.
It's possible I do as well. I've got a Razor sat at the head of the.
Yeah, Eraser has the most points, but Solon is 12th currently.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Half as much points.
So I think one to watch based on recent race performances. I think we might see a bit of a charge through from this fella. He's looked like a pretty strong contender throughout. It looks like.
Yes. When the qualifier is over, everybody stops at turn 1 or 2, somewhere along there, and post all their times in the PlayStation Messenger bot, so the bot can line up all the racers.
Oh, perfect. So that's for the host to make sure that lobby is perfect for the race.
Exactly. So, then you have the hosts, like, they go over and check so that everything is all right and everybody has posted their times.
So it looks like Fearpennant secured it. I thought they had an extra lap. I was kind of hanging on for a final run there, but that's...
They've shortened the qualifier. It used to be 15 minutes with the fuel depletion, but now I think it's only like 10 or 12 minutes without fuel depletion.
Okay, so it's a super sprint quali, isn't it? It's get out, get your lap done.
And also get, like... Otherwise we're gonna, like, sit for, like, it just takes a lot of time to, like, doing the setup, so shorten the qualifier a bit and shorten the overall week, the overall night for everybody as well. These things tends to take quite a bit of time.
Yeah, and with a game that doesn't always give you the strongest lobby connection, I think that's a...
Oh, you should have been here during like season 5 or something. Jesus, we had like 5 drivers each and every race stuck on the race start, including me. That's how I started actually commentating. I got stuck on the grid at Nordschleife, the first race.
Joking.
No, and then I just started streaming and commentating instead.
That's amazing, and then it sounds like you did a good job enough to carry on doing it as well.
Yeah, like I'm jumping from PC to PlayStation, drifting, rally on, like I said, of course, and dirt, and then I do the Gran Turismo racing on PlayStation, and like just moving the cables back and forth.
I've completely lost your audio there, mate. I don't know if That's a Discord moment, or your microphone. Rich, how you doing? I will certainly ask the meaning of Fiapinen. And hey, Eric, welcome. We're back at the Swedish series. I've just lost my feed through to Mixter, who is a former racer in the series and co-commentator today. I'm just going to reboot Mixter back in because I was quite enjoying having that company. I think we dared to talk about connections. Well, welcome to the waiting period. We've just qualified with Fiapinen on pole. Hello, Crisscross. Thanks for the host. Higher Speed, welcome in. I'm going to try and recover the voice of Mixter. I currently don't have any audio channel through to. Yeah, voice has died. So we may get reconnected to Mixter. We may not. I'm hoping we will. If not, I'll try and get him through the PlayStation party while we're on the 10 to 15 minute wait for this race to crack on and get going. I might reboot Discord here and just do... Cool, so the two of us have just been having a perfectly nice time on Discord here. Welcome everyone anyway. We're going to hopefully get a 10-minute window here to fix kind of bizarre problem with Discord. Fresh coffee is very important. We've got a race starting in anything close to 10 minutes time now. If you missed it, we're at Interlagos. We've just done the qualifying. We're just building the grid. It's the Swedish Racing League once again, and I am almost joined by Mixter here, whose co-commentary services I was very much enjoying until we got disconnected then. So I'm going to recall him. So I've got call unavailable. My whole Discord has just abandoned me. Thanks, Discord. I think it might be a Discord error, you know. You should be able to hear my stream to know what's going on. Nothing has changed about my end on Discord, so I've not turned anything off. Oh, well, this is fun. My whole connection to Discord looks a little shaky, I've got to be honest. Hey Mike, welcome in. We're just in the interim, guys, of preparing to start a race. We're also trying to recover the voice of Mixter here, who is co-commentating. I'm just going to reboot. It's a Frank problem. Mate, we've just had half an hour of unbroken chat. Finished qualifying. And it looks like Discord has completely destroyed itself. Right, we both restarted Discord. Oh, this is fun. I'm wondering if we can... So, this is commentary. Let's see if... Yeah, and it's I'm being joined by a former driver here, Mixter, who, thanks to the powers of Discord, has just been deleted from my communications here. We can both text chat. We're both alive. But something either in bandwidth or in the app is not happy. Best commentator ever, go. Right, I'm going to join another server. Hopefully via this channel. Alright, we're getting a restarted lobby anyway, so this is good timing.
Okay.
Oh, you're back. Well done. I think we had server issues on that Discord or something.
Yeah, Discord tends to take a dive sometimes.
Yeah, nice. Well, I actually would say well timed, because literally between then and now, I've been pretty much looking at a screen that's not changed. So, welcome back. Guys, if you've just joined in chat, I've got Mixter here with me, who is a former driver and broadcaster from the Swedish Racing League, knows the thing inside out compared to myself. So thanks for joining me, Mixter.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome back after being unceremoniously booted. Like, I mean, I dared to say that Gran Turismo lobbies were shaky, and then you get booted from Discord, so maybe I just need to back down and only think positive.
yeah, Discord tends to do that sometimes. We're not the only ones who usually have issues.
Well, welcome back. I've had... Swoil kindly has posted all of the times in the chat, so there you go, guys, if you want some factual information. Mad Mike says hi, Mixter. Rich
hello.
Did ask me if I could get the translation of Fierpinnen out of Swedish, if there is a good translation of it.
Fierpinnen. Fire is a slang for fish, and pinne is stick, so it's like fish stick.
It's fish stick. A few of us were trying to remember that the other day, and we were like, we know there's a good translation. We know there's something good in that. Fish stick.
Yep.
I love it. I'll probably stick to Fierpinnen for racing purposes. I feel like...
so people can actually see who it is.
Yeah, give the guy some kudos as well.
Yeah.
Chris Cross also saying hi, fellow CRN community member.
What is CRN?
CRN is the Clean Racing Network. I kind of started playing Gran Turismo, and the first group of drivers I joined was known as CRN, and they were, and still are, a great group of guys looking to run just really clean races. Like-minded drivers, I imagine, much like the roots of this series. Where you
that's how it all started. Everybody was angry at the open lobbies, so we started meeting different guys from Sweden inside of like the FIA racing lobbies and stuff, and then we started racing just for fun in our own, to just get out from all the like the shunt drivers and things like that. And then SRL was sort of born.
Yeah, and now is how many seasons do you think in? I believe it's been going for some time.
This is the 13th season. I think the first season was sort of an unofficial one, and then we had the first season, which everybody raced for like their own fictional team. And I think the second season, we also had free tuning of suspension and aerodynamics. Nothing, nothing on the engine, like the power and weight wise, but the aerodynamics and suspension and camber and all that, we were allowed to adjust.
And then that's gradually kind of been tuned over the years, I guess, as a series. Am I right?
Yes. They removed, or as I was, well, I still am in the administration group, but we removed the tuning to put the tuning time into practice time instead, because people have jobs and families and those things.
Mm-hmm. So I guess it's realizing what things make it simpler and more accessible for those guys who need that.
More racing, less tuning, but that pushed it also towards people just grabbing the best cars, and then we imported the weight penalty system to equalize that sort of, and also removing all like the fictional cars, the Gran Turismo Vision cars, and things like that, to just keep it more real life sensed, sort of.
Yeah, and I guess you can always make a thing more complicated, but sometimes the things you take away from it make it a bit more. I don't know, like it's something you have the energy to carry on if it's not too over complex or fussy. Like the more the field is leveled, I don't know, the quality of the racing so far has been so. I've not been able to know which of the 12 guys or 13 guys is going to end up near the front, because every time I think I know what's going on, the format's flipped and someone's suddenly on super soft tires, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like the guy I was setting up for the top 3 is suddenly in 12th. So I think the format's working.
And they also have a mandatory pit stop to change tires. I think they have to drive either on 2 different set of tires or 3 different set of tires.
Okay.
So they have to use different tires as well. So you can't just run super softs all the way through.
Yeah, so that mix of tires, the timing of it, and the combination of, I believe they start on half fuel if the series is still, as I read about, but after that,
I think
they
it's
kind
50%.
of, it's down to those guys to sort of pitch their strategy for the full hour.
Exactly.
I've just posted a quali list, which actually now looks like a list, so I can roughly know how drivers are doing as they make progress through the race. Thea Penham with the pole if you weren't here for qualifying. We're just getting that lobby built now, and hopefully I can start spectating some driving for you guys.
Yeah, Giravander is a new name for me, so he must have joined this season, but he's definitely doing well, placing himself in P3.
Yeah, I believe last race was also my first race watching him, so I had no idea what to expect, and I think got a good result. I haven't got the Dragon Trail list here from last round, but I'm pretty sure he came through from a fair way back in the grid, so starting on the second row, I think guys and Lassazaja, who, if it wasn't for a mistake, I believe in the last race, was gunning for a top 4. So I think it's going to be fun to watch that second row, giving Veerpennen and Solon, I believe it is, a bit of a run, all on the medium tyres. So I'll repeat what I said earlier, which is the top 8 must start on the medium compound. Let's bring you back. I think, yeah, we've got a picture. We've got a race. So as soon as they've got that grid together, we can do a quick rundown of where those drivers are placed. Egerlanders is one to watch as well. He's got one of the most striking liveries of the lot, like the black, the white, the orange, the Ginger Joes.
Oh, yeah.
And I've pretty much contested him in the top 5 for everything I've seen so far. So, quite excited to see. Do you know if they play much in the sense of team games here? Like, there are some drivers, if you look at Chio in the Talisman Supras, I believe there's up to 3 of those guys in this field, depending on the qualifying. Do those guys play much towards the team aspect of the race?
Well, like if you're running behind a teammate, you don't really want to cause an accident for anybody. But drivers tend to be a bit more careful when they're racing against a co-driver, like a team driver as well.
Sure.
I've experienced this myself, but it's like Red Bull in Formula 1, there are no team rules. So if you're faster and you can overtake, people tend to do that.
Yeah, so there's a balance, as always. So there's no necessary team orders, but the guys, they're going to be aware of each other and how that shapes the race.
Racing tends to be survival of the fittest. I've had some sketchy moments with Spoil when we were teammates. Especially in season 2 when we had tuning on the suspension and the aerodynamics. I spent a good amount of time tuning my BMW M6 and also helped tune his AMG GT Mercedes.
So I guess there's a mix, like you're competitive with each other, you make each other push that little bit further, but it's also in a way it's still a big rival, isn't it? You're not giving that guy a free pass to a position.
No, not at all. I in the total standings of season 2, I beat him, but one race I helped him tune his car, and I helped him too well because I couldn't catch him.
Immediately regretted your input.
Yeah, his Mercedes was too quick.
Oh man,
it was really annoying.
Wishing you'd saved a couple of settings, held them back there, you know, like.
Yeah, he was a tenth and a half quicker than me every lap, and I couldn't catch him. But I beat him in the total standings and took home the championship.
Well, that's some doing.
I think he came 2nd or 3rd that championship.
Well, speaking of Swirl, he was someone who got very, very involved at Dragon Trail. Even down to the last lap, I was following. I think I was shouting a Razor at the time, and then I realised as soon as it was over that it was Swirl that had been making basically a pitch from the back of the grid, having hit that dreaded death chicane on the opening couple of laps. I don't know. I needed more cameras just to know how he kind of clawed that one back, but to see him basically fighting for the podium at the end was pretty impressive.
Spoil called me on my cell phone, and he was like, "Oh, do you want to commentate this Monday?" And then he just started talking about Dragon Trail, and I had to watch the stream, and how he clawed himself on the back, and how he messed up at the death chicane. Like, I was doing so well, I was like 2nd, and then I hit the barrier, and then I had to fight my way back, and he was very excited about it.
And we got it on camera too, and you didn't mean to, obviously. You don't try and grab it when someone has a moment like that, but it was just right there, and it was like, no, Spoil, what have you done?
Yeah, that's sort of his Achilles heel. He's a really good driver, but you know, sometimes he just ends up with a huge mistake, and it just sets him back, and he's really mad about it, and then just tries to come back even harder. And
yeah, your own worst enemy in that case. Yeah. Is this? I think Scanningen is the first. This is his first top split lobby, at least while I've been commentating. So actually, quite nice to see a Porsche represented here. Oh, I've got a share play stops in 5 minutes. Do I quickly restart share play?
I don't know how that works.
Okay, well, let's just fix that quickly.
Yes.
Professional as ever.
Yes.
Right, I'm going to restart that share play. And let's just make sure I stay in that lobby. Great. I'm going to restart a share play for you there. Okay. We may have a moment in the race where my share play threatens to end it all, and it'll probably be just as the finish is coming. So prepare for that one.
Is it half an hour or an hour?
I'm thinking it could be close to an hour now, but maybe halfway through the race I can do just a quick look at the tables and we'll restart that just so that saves us all an awkward end to the race. Well, I guess you can switch to stream if the worst happens.
Yeah.
But it's kind of good to have you with the live picture. So welcome everyone. Thanks for saying hi in chat. Mixter, if you missed it before, Mixter's here as a co-commentator, former driver and former broadcaster of the series, and really pleased to have a fellow commentator who already understands the series while I still work it out. So glad to have you along, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate the effort. And yeah, I'm kind of excited for this because Interlagos I seem to look forward to as a driver, because I think the technicality of the track and that really difficult middle sector means like a race can change its shape very quickly depending on how a driver's sort of strengths are on the circuit. Like for me, I dread that middle sector. Every time I come through it, I'm thinking, don't mess it up this time.
If you have a front heavy car, you're gonna have a bad time. So we'll see how the mid-engine cars are gonna do here.
Exactly. Speaking of, the mid-engine cars are leading the field out here. So we've got Veerpennen and Solon in their respective Lamborghinis. Gravender and here it goes. La SSGr3. I'll get it, I promise. Rounding up row 2, both on the Mercedes. We are going to hit the formation lap, guys, so this isn't going to be the rock and roll start. This is the warm-up lap for these guys. 41 laps of the Interlagos circuit. Let's have a quick look further back in the field. So picking up row 3, we've got West in the Jaguar. Strong runner throughout the season so far. I'm going to quit my emails because nobody needs to hear that. In 6th, we've got T5 Black, who I think was the pole man last race, and still secured a top 5, but maybe looking to press a bit closer to the front this race. Abramson, relentless driver in 7th. Never see him more than half a tenth away from the guy in front based on the last races, so look out for a big fight from this guy. Eraser, one we expect actually might make his way through the field here. He's the last of the guys on the medium tyre, at least the mandatory medium tyre, so the top 8 are all going to be starting on that compound. And then we've got Smunkish in, I think, the Lexus there. Again, I didn't really pick up the Lexus before, so interesting to see how he goes against the field of largely Lamborghinis, Mercedes and Toyotas. Egerlanders, another one to watch. We've seen him running at the front before, so that Supra could be making ground, and to be honest, same can be said for Swoil here, so look out for this field chopping around as the laps go down. And then bringing up the field, we've got Chio, fellow Talisman driver. Mikella there in the FT1, awesome paint job, say it every time. Look out for Scanning in here in the Porsche, not a driver I've got to see on track often in the Porsche, so let's see how he fares compared to the field. And you can tell me, Mixter, how to say that name.
Stiliga Dan.
Stiliga Dan. Rounds up
Handsome Dan.
The Jack. Handsome Dan, love it. So we've got Fish Stick at the front and Handsome Dan at the back.
Yep.
What more could we ask
So
for?
how this start works is that everybody gets to punch the gas when they cross the start finish line at the timer beep. So
alright, so we're waiting for Veerpennen here. He's crossed the beam and he's away, and it looks like, if I'm not wrong, he's just caught everybody half asleep there. Veerpennen already with nearly a second on the field. Let's keep an eye on the mid-pack through here. It's a tough turn 1. We're going to keep an eye throughout. It's a really clean run. Great job, guys, as always. So Veerpennen, wow, staggering start straight into a second lead, and I believe he's just going to look to make the gap here if he can. You want to break that magical 2.5 and just get some clear air.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Solon can actually keep up with Philippine, and he's just extending his lead to 1.3 seconds.
Yeah, really aggressive start. And Solon, I think, may be struggling here because SSGr3 moved into third, already taking the place from Gravender. And whether that happened on the first corner, I didn't see, but he's very cleanly made the move and is pressing on to Solon, who does look like he's got a bit of a fight on his hands here halfway through lap 1.
Yeah, especially coming up towards the finish straight line. Like that Mercedes with a V8, it's really strong on the straightaways.
It really is, and has no problem sitting there in the toe. If you can manage the kind of gentle kind of understeer you can get from that car in the, you know, in the apexes, there's a real opportunity there.
Yeah, I'm betting SRL is probably gonna go and try to overtake here.
Yeah, it looks good, but he's moved to the outside. It looks like Solon has got that line covered, so are we going to see patience from SSGr3? Bit of a battle behind with West also. Let's just keep an eye on him in the Jaguar, giving Gravender a real run here. No moves as yet. Looks like a fairly stable start. We have got a guy who's dropped off the back. I will pick that up, but there's too much action here at the front with SSGr3 again threatening. Can we get on board with him here?
Yeah, Solon is really trying to cover up that inside, so we'll see is he going to hold the inside here as well.
And all the while this is happening, Fearpennon is looking in the mirrors thinking, keep it up guys, keep it up.
Yeah, keep fighting him. He's just gonna head up into the sunset.
Yeah. And not going to complain in the slightest. What this is doing is bringing Gravender back into the race. We just saw a gap there between 2 and 3, giving themselves a bit of clear air, but the more the battling continues, the more this train is stacking up. And back on the cameras, look at the field. Basically, everybody on those faster compounds, even if they're on the mediums as well, they're towing in here. They're all hanging on. I guess it's a crucial part of the race to stay in touch with the competition. We did lose Chio by the looks of it. I'm sorry we didn't get what happened to Chio. No doubt he's going to be frustrated and focusing on getting some clean laps back into the race.
Yeah, you can see on the front end of his car he has some visual damage.
He
does.
does.
Doesn't seem to have damage on the actual car, just visual.
It looks like he's survived any, long-term damage. Luckily, otherwise that would be sort of insult to injury. So Solon leading SSGr3 onto lap 4 already. It's a fast lap here. I'm not sure how...
2.6 seconds, and it just keeps extending because these two guys are fighting.
And this is the last race in reverse for Fearpennon. He is having none of it. He's saying, you know what? We didn't get the perfect race last time, but watch me go now. SSGr3 again only able to cut onto the outside line, but can he get that little cut back in? It's a pretty steep braking zone here, but unless Solon drops the wheel at the moment, it looks like he's kind of got this under control.
Yeah, he might be trying to stress Solon into wearing down his tires a lot faster.
True, and speaking of, a Razor with an aggressive start, he's come back from 10th or 11th there, I believe, and he's made ground already up to 6th, and I think
he started 8th.
8th,
right?
thank you. So, a couple of positions early on, and I think Egerlanders as well with a good start. I think we're seeing some of those guys that were a little further back than ideal, Swoyle included, they're going to be on the charge.
Moving up to 8th.
Yeah,
started,
and
way back.
Yeah, on the soft tyres too, so he's going to have nothing to hold back here, making as much ground as he can when he's on a more optimal tyre than those mediums.
They're going to go 3 wide?
Is it 3 wide? Is it 4 wide? I've got no idea. The madness into turn 1 continues.
Yeah, it's all capitalizing on Eraser.
Yeah, let's try and track them as they're coming down into turns. Is it turn 4, I believe? I never know how many turns that first corner counts as, but I'm going to say it's turn 4.
I think it's turn 4 and then it goes into 5.
There's some pretty cool corner names on this circuit. I'm not going to try and pronounce half of them though, I've got to be honest. So Solon, wow, 3.2 seconds behind Fierpennon, who's taking commanding lead already. It's going to be a lot to fight back with, considering these guys are all on a similar starting strategy. So we'll wait to see how that plays out. Lasazargis maybe just settling a little into third place. He's not given really an inch to Solon, but at the same time, maybe smartly just looking for a clean run with Solon to avoid the charge of Gravender there.
And two very different cars as well. One is really front heavy and one has a mid engine, so the Lamborghini is going to wear out the rear tires faster, but the Mercedes is going to wear out the front tires faster. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out.
Let's go on board then with Lasazarja. Yeah, we can see the grunty Mercedes, but again forced to the outside. Has he got the move done this time? There is the brave opportunity there. Holds it. He needs that inside line to make the move work. Very, very respectful, driving two wheels off from Solon. Oh, a little bit of bumping and barging. He's managed to hold it, but look at this trail of cars that are following. I don't even know where to look here. Let's watch on board with West. There's no time for even a replay here. As West, watch the braking zone. There's a bump from Gravender. That's just put Lasazarja slightly offline there. It's cost him a position. So are we going to see... It was a very minor contact. Difficult to say if there was really much to give back there. Bit of a racing incident, I'm kind of hesitant to say.
Yeah, if any driver is going to have any complaints, they can send a video clip and a description to the administration group and they will look at it. But so far it's just, what I can see, it's just pure racing.
Exactly, and very respectful despite all the bumps, each guy giving the other driver just about a car's width, but not much more than that.
You can see here Spoil moving up to 7th as well.
Exactly, he looks...
pushing hard.
There's something about that Lamborghini that looks aggressive anyway, but this guy just looks like he's going to be pushing for every position before the first pit stops. I guess every position made now is a lot of groundwork done for later in the race. Let's jump slightly ahead here as it looks like a fight with Egerlanders looking down the inside. It's a very late move, but I think he's made that stick. Beautifully timed bit of braking there. I'm just going to see if I can catch that on the replay. Alright, we've got a generous replay here. So Gravender with the clear air, but Egerlanders, the Supra, surprising me slightly there. Very powerful car under brakes, though, I must admit. And I don't know if Egerlanders really was contested too hard for that. It looked like just a very clean move.
Yep. I haven't seen the Supra recently. It wasn't I don't think anybody drove it last season, but it seems super popular now.
Yeah, I've noticed even in the Manufacturer series in Gran Turismo, that car does look to have been nailing some results in many rounds. Whether there's been a slight shift in the BOP or whether that car is just kind of, people are finding it, you know? It seems to be cars go through their sort of phases of popularity. So, yeah, it looks like they're a strong runner here, though. It's quite an agile car, a lot of power to put down. But you've really got to be careful on the corner exits in that car. It's a pretty lively car.
Yeah, and to maximize, well, it used to be, I don't know how it is now, but to maximize the car's potential, you short-shifted the car.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, with the turbo, yeah, even as much as a half shift just over is enough for that Supra. Now the camera's a little behind here, but I don't think we saw a move there from Egerlanders. Just tracking, again, Solon. Whether it's just the natural pace of him and that car at this track, or whether he's on a slightly more conservative stint, it looks like Egerlanders has got the raw pace here to challenge into turn 4. It's a very, very good braking zone here. Gets the job done, and Solon really looking like, despite putting the power down, he's just suffering for grip there. So maybe not the strongest stint in his race. We'll have to see if that comes back to him later on.
Can we take a quick look at the tire wear on Solon's car?
Yeah, let's get to Solon. So P3. So those mediums, ooh.
And compared to the Supra?
So the Supra, on its softs, is managing those tyres pretty well relative to the mediums. Sorry, I am doing a quick change here. So it looks like the rear right and generally the right side of the car is obviously going to take the biggest tyre wear here, but those mediums, especially at the rear of the Lamborghini, really wearing down perhaps quicker than you'd expect on the other guys' cars.
You can see him locking in now.
There you go. Getting rid of those mediums, probably a good decision. Immediately onto what I would predict is a more aggressive set of tyres now.
Yeah, it might be that the mediums don't have enough grip to keep a higher pace, so it starts sliding around and then you get more tyre wear.
And with a relatively, well, anything above a small tyre wear amount, that really adds up, doesn't it? Like the smallest amount of oversteer can, really inflate that.
The Lamborghini is a really tail-happy car.
Yeah, of course. It's almost the driving style is to drive that car with a touch of oversteer. So we're seeing, let's bring the scores back. So Solon, obviously out the back of the grid there. He's the first to pit, but now we'll look to see if he can make a bit of an undercut on those super soft tyres. Veerpenen stretching now to 4 seconds, but it will be good to see if Egerlanders has got the pace to start giving Veerpenen something to think about. I was just going to say, let's look back at the rest of the field, and that's where everything is happening at the moment. We've got West leading an absolute barrage of cars. We've got Swoyle on the outside of Gravender here, so Swoyle making more ground, I think. Gravender was a front runner here for most of the start of this race, and it looks like Swoyle is not going to hang around. Let's see, can we pick this battle up from Gravender? He's got the inside line, but is Swoyle going to try something on the outside? Let's step back and watch this. Oh, that Lamborghini.
He barely kept that in.
He's done his best to hold it, but I'm afraid that Lamborghini just had too much tail-happy action there. Let's just see if we can catch that on the cameras. So he's on the outside line. He gets a great run here. But I think we're going to see Swoyle with some beautiful drifting control. I mean, style points. I'll give him extra points for that if there were. But for his race progress, that's really going to put him under a bit of pressure now. And let's see, has that cost him?
Yes, it cost him a position. He's behind Steely Dan now as well.
Wow, and I think he was up there with West at least. So, not West, sorry, but the guy is close behind. So, was it Abramson? Yeah, so Steely Dan though, he's not been hanging around, having started pretty much from the back row.
He's definitely moving up in the world.
Yep, and I don't know, this could be a bit of a... This is the exact point in the race where I'm not quite sure who's actually going to hold that charge or whether they've just had their optimal stint. So those rear runners do get to start on a soft or super soft compound, which explains their ability to start carving their way up the field. It's exactly. A brilliant system though, makes for some fascinating racing at this point. As we see West, one of the early pitters there from the main pack. Looks like the mediums are going to come off. Maybe a more aggressive compound on. We'll keep an eye on that as he gets out of the pit.
He's definitely going to put on either soft or super softs.
Yeah, I guess no reason to drag yourself further back on those mediums more than you have to. So looks like the first sign of a spread at the front of the field. Let's just catch up with the race running. Now Veerpenen not quite holding the 4-second gap to Egerlanders. We've seen this before in other races. When Egerlanders gets that clear air, he kind of gets the tunnel vision and is unrelentingly in pursuit of the guy in front, admittedly on the soft tyre compound. So although, you know, Egerlanders is on the optimal compound, we are going to see his tyres wear off probably in the next 2 or 3 laps. So something
but the
to watch.
Supra has a really balanced tyre wear from what I can see.
It really does, especially if you shift that brake bias. You can manage that for quite some time. Good recovery from Lassazaja there. Pit stops may be giving him a slightly stronger position than perhaps to West, but considering that early sort of bit of side-by-side contact, he's kind of done well to stay in contact there.
Definitely.
And I think Gravender just about trying to keep onto the tail of him there in the slipstream gap. But one slight slip or mistake is going to see him at a bit of a stretch there, possibly.
Yeah, you can see a few guys from the midfield now also entering the pit stop. You see, I think both Soil and Eraser.
Okay, one to watch as they come out of the pits on fresh boots. We'll try and pick some of those guys up as they leave the pit lane. We'll try and stay with the action here for you. So Mikkola, another car, not hanging about. A few pit stops now, so we're going to have to wait and see where these guys shake out when everybody has made their first stop. Haven't really seen the progress of T5 yet. Just going to see, it looks like he's on fresh tyres having pitted, so again we won't quite know how his race pace is looking for a couple of laps possibly, but look out for T5 gaining a few places back when that shakes out. And Razor, go on, dude.
3-car squabble behind the Racer maybe?
Let's check it out.
If you look at the map, you can see a couple of guys.
Oh, are we talking further back?
Yeah.
Oh no, maybe that was it West chasing the tree? Oh yeah, okay. Let's bring it back from the rear. So Smunkish. Oh.
Yeah, we have 3 cars.
Good spot, thanks. We've got a massive 3-car fight. Currently fighting for P13. Obviously, action not just at the front of the field, but these guys are going to be scrapping for whatever position is available. It's going to count for something later in the race. Is that?
And I think since Stiligedan he must have hit it. I think.
I think so. Let's see if I can get you a little tyre report on that. I'm getting a few I can't change at all here. I've got the old pit stop glitches. So we've got a car inside car coming out the pit lane. Everyone's favourite glitch. Oh my goodness. I hope these guys are able to clear this on the pit exit. We've got some ghosting. Come on, guys. Split the cars,
Separate.
dude. Oh my god.
Here we go.
And it's going to be side by side into turn 4 there on cold tyres but fresh tyres, and they've come out just ahead of our fighting pack there, so we've now got a 5-car train, which we might see this train of cars move forward in the field as everybody kind of shakes out of the pit stop cycles.
Yeah, the pit stop tends to jumble drivers around, so the commentators don't know what's going on.
Yeah, like one thing I would say is worth watching is now Egerlanders is behind SSGr3 and was in clear air before chasing Fear Pennant, so will this cost time? We'll have to see. It could be they're running at a good pace together, but if I was Egerlanders, I'd have wanted that position over SSGr3 out of the pits there, so will that shape how it affects his run on Fear Pennant, who now, I believe, having pitted, being in 3rd, he's going to retake that lead. He's in clean air, so we might see Fear Pennant there with a real stretch on his lead if he's got good pace now. T5 Black moving suddenly to the front here. As you say, mate, I have no idea whether he's in sync or whether he's had an early stop. I think the tyre wear gives us a hint there that he's been out a little longer than some of those guys.
Water, fuel, and just tiny bit of wear on the tires, so maybe he has just a few laps from the pit stop right now.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, so looks like what I would say is kind of half out of sync with the field, and we won't know how that shakes out until maybe closer to maybe lap 30 in the race, that last sort of quarter when the final stops start to come in.
It's only been 14 out of 41 laps, so
it feels like
quite a while to go.
So many more. Honestly, the compact nature of this race as well means I daren't look away from anyone, to be honest. We're seeing a fairly comfortable spread in the top 5. Solon, again, a front runner who we expect to see maybe make a couple of positions later in the race. But we've also seen him struggle a little on the medium compound early, so we're hoping he's going to get a bit more of a strong rhythm and show a bit of a fight back to contend with those front positions.
Yeah, Solon is definitely a top driver. I've competed against him quite a lot of seasons, and he's really fast.
something obviously I didn't bear in mind there is whether also some of these guys are going to be running a bit of ballast, and if that's the case, that's really going to show some tyre wear and just some struggles with throwing that car through the corners. So that might be something I will check up for us in a short while. Yeah, Solon is actually the heaviest car on the grid with 5% weight, shortly followed by T5 Black on 4%, Eraser and Fear Pennon on 3. So no wonder we're seeing slight variations in pace there, even when cars are running similar tyre compounds. Just flicking back now to see what's going on in what is the mid-pack of the race, but don't be fooled. These guys are strong contenders for the front of the grid. Most of the guys have made pit stops, but the timing and the fuel loads are going to be quite varied here. So look out for the charge of Lassazaja for Egerlanders. Hoping these two don't fight their way into a corner to the point of losing ground at the front of the race later on. Neither driver can really afford to give up that time right now. And Chio looking like he's still at the head of this battle, which was the back of the pack before. Let's just catch up with the rear runners here. So Michela now having made a pit stop. Closely now, interestingly, I can see Abramson here. Has he made an extra stop? Has he had an issue here? He's just out of the pits. This was a driver that we saw in the top 5 or 6 earlier on, so curious to know how his race is going to shape from here. Whether that's an extra stop mixer, I don't know if you spotted that.
No, I wasn't too attentive. I was looking at the ballast of all the drivers.
Yeah. So, well, who knows whether he's had a moment and we didn't catch it on camera, or whether he's just on a completely opposite strategy to these guys and is going to catch us out a bit later on.
Only time will tell.
Exactly, and I guess we're about a third into the race now, and we're starting to see a bit of a slower rhythm to the race, bit of clear air for Fear Pennon. Checking the gap again, he is only 3.5 seconds ahead, but stretching that gap to T5 still looks very comfortable currently. West, how's he running on tyres? We've got the super soft compound with a slightly older super soft there in second for T5 Black. So are we going to see West with a bit of a pressured attack while those tyres are still pretty fresh?
Yeah, these two cars are definitely quick on the straights, but since West has fresher tires, I'm thinking definitely he's going to make a move.
And speaking of, he's made a very, very late time. Again, that turn 1 is the opportunistic corner for sure, but clean driving there. Kind of respectfully held back despite a very inviting opportunity. I think maybe saving them both a bit of a headache going down the hill there. You nearly called it though, I have to say. I thought the move was coming.
It was close. But he's definitely eyeing for that overtake.
Let's go on board. Yeah, he looked like he knows that... Well, really, it's not that he's got to make the move, but if he doesn't, those fresher tyres are kind of being wasted to a degree, especially if T5 Black's pace isn't quite enough to currently sustain... You know, Fear Pennon here has already pulled out a second nearly in a lap, maybe more than a second, so West could be very aware on that radar of the Fear Pennon blue triangle sort of vanishing into the distance lap by lap.
Yeah, but I think West is going to try for it again, trying to get a good exit here on the straightaway.
Yeah, we're watching from the rear of T5 Black. He's got the slipstream. He's got a little bit of ground to make, but that Jaguar doesn't look shy on horsepower. Here we go. Can we get on board with West? There we go. And it looks like not really a defense from T5 there. Maybe sees it coming. No, just confident as anything. Bravely holds it around the outside. I would have been tempted to defend that
West
move.
is definitely closer now than last time, so let's see if he's going to go for it again here on the inside.
Yeah, because under braking, it looks like he's got the strength to make the move. Again, leaves it late. Goes for more of a dive this time. I was going to say he's made it stick, but the power of that super on the corner exit narrowly misses contact there. Beautiful driving from both drivers. Now on the outside, though, for what is turn 6 and 7, I believe. Can he make the cutback work? It's a tried and tested move here, but it relies on full commitment into the hairpin. And again, the switchback is going to cost West. If he can hold the outside line, beautiful stuff here from the guys. This could be the move into the hairpin. Deep braking zone. And just needs to hold it wide. Beautifully done. Really, really respectful racing. I will cut back to that move if I can. I just want to see how this final corner is shaping out. No desperate moves there. Did we catch the overtake? Yeah, just made it stick way ahead of the braking zone. Not too much drama.
They were side by side through all of sector 2, so...
Oh, it's fantastic, and it just makes for great watching. You just love to see it. You know, racing room, clean, but competitive driving. And are we going to see... I guess this is T5's best opportunity to come back before that Jaguar starts to show its kind of fresher tyres in clean air.
Yeah, I don't think T5 has the tyres to outbrake West.
No, it looks like even already West has got just enough to defend here. I can't imagine, and I mean, I could be wrong, but it doesn't look like T5 is in any shape to go and throw a move down there. He's probably smart to rely on West's natural pace and kind of get carried along. Look out though, in P4, there's a pretty swift Lamborghini.
My old teammate.
Old Soil is not going to kind of pause for an invitation to get involved here, so I think lap 20, lap 21, let's see if he's got the tyres to take him up to these two. I think we've got a contender here for one of the top positions later in the race if he keeps that run.
He's definitely aiming for a podium here.
I think so, and well, I'm just stepping back into the field. How do I even describe what is happening?
4 cars side by side.
9 wide through sector 2. I can't believe what I'm seeing. So the Porsche currently at the head of a train of about 9 cars, I dare say, counting quickly. I'm going to be impressed if he can hold these guys for much longer. I don't know if his tyres are gone. Yeah, low fuel, but really beaten tyres here. Looks like he's going to head into the pits.
Yeah, and I saw T5, he headed for the pit as well.
Oh, good spot there, Mixter. Thank you. Yeah, so that's going to shake T5 back behind possibly some of this action. It'd be interesting to see whether he's caught up in that or whether there's a bit of clear air for him as he comes out. The 2 BWT Mercedes look like they're running together at the back of this group. Can we pick up those guys? So it's Gravender leading Abramson. Both drivers I'd expect to start making ground later in this race. So it looks like they won't waste each other's time. Or are we going to see teammates battling here?
You can see now Svoil as T5 headed for the pit. You can see that Svoil moved up into 3rd position as well.
So let's take a look. Yeah, Swoil with still a 2-second gap to West, but that gap is not dropping. So a single wheel off from either of these guys is gonna shape this race. I can sort of sense Swoil having that kind of tunnel vision effect where he can see West's car getting closer and closer, and it looks like, oh, if he can keep that car stable on exit, he's still on the hunt for P2.
And the thing is as well, Svoil is running a plus 3% weight penalty, with West running a plus 2% weight penalty.
So that's some pretty impressive pace from Swoil to keep that car even in competition there, carrying that extra sort of, what is it, like, it's like a mini tank of fuel on top of the car, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And Filippinan, he's also running plus 3%, and he's in the lead, so he's driving like super well.
Yeah, driving as though he's not got any weight ballast at all. Really supreme car control, great natural pace. He, I think, is making life very difficult for anybody who wants to contend for the win here, because the clean air, the consistency, it just all kind of snowballs into a strong run, especially with such a consistent driver like Filippinan.
And that's the commentator's curse.
Yeah.
Let's see him
I regret everything I just said. I take much of it back. Nothing was said. Well, we're over half the race gone. We've got Egerlanders in a solid third, following SSGr3 and Firapennen. We have got a couple of front runners further back in the pit stop cycle, so look out for that field shaking up later. It's a solid couple of seconds between 2 and 3 and 3 and 4, I believe, at the minute. And then what looks to be a similar gap to Eraser, who is dealing with the attention of Stiligadan here. We haven't focused too much on Stiligadan, but we have seen him at the head of some pretty feisty groups of cars, so looking like he can hold his own here. Showing some pace, and as I say that, he's off into the pit lane, so he's not currently in the fight with Eraser, who looks like he's got a little bit more of a stint to go. Abramson in 6th, who I now can see has taken his teammate on the road, I believe. I didn't see it on the cameras, but those two swapping positions, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Abramson showing a slightly fresher set of boots, or maybe just with a bit more natural pace here. No, his tyres are not looking any more healthy, so I think...
The fuel is about the same, but the tyres are more worn out.
Yeah, so really, unless there's ballast involved, I think Abramson just showing a little bit more pace than his teammate, and Gravender kind of letting him get on with it.
Abramson only have a plus 1% weight penalty.
Okay, so you would not expect him to be... Although if he's the faster of the two cars, he's going to be helping them both by picking the pace up there. So maybe some smart driving. We've got a nice battle developing here. Peter Mikkola and the ever-present Swoyle. Let's see if we can go on board here and watch that Lamborghini swatting around the FT1. Swoyle, I believe, on fresh boots, wants to make all the ground he can, does not want to be sat behind another car at this point.
Yeah, and he's really close as well. He's has a nice position to be in the slipstream as well, so we'll see if he's going to be able to overtake here.
Yeah, it could be the move, and well, Mikkola will know really whether his strategy is anywhere close to Swoyle's and whether he's going to defend. It looks defensive. He's taken that slight inside line, but then Swoyle with an outrageous late dive. Yeah, again, the camera just leaving me guessing there, but no, great defending. Really bold from Mikkola there, saying, Swoyle, if you want that position, mate, you're going to have to work a little bit harder for it. As you've said before, though, the run here can be crucial.
Yeah, and I think the FT has more power on the straight line as well.
Okay.
Mikkola, I can't see that it has any weight penalties, so with less horsepower and more weight, so it's definitely going to be a struggle to overtake.
Well, as you say it, he's made the dive inside. I'm afraid I was stuck on the rear cam there, so it was an absolute mystery as to what was going on. But let me try and catch the replay for you as Swoyle kind of makes a very smart, opportunistic move before that aggressive second sector. And it was the cutback. Really didn't look like the move was there, but the run... Beautiful line, kept the grip, and kind of leaned a little. Nothing.
Yeah, you can see Mikkola trying to go on the inside, but there was a car in the way.
Yeah, a very crafty move really from Swoyle. He knew it. If he got his car there in the inside line, there was really no opportunity for a comeback. Let's just catch up with the front of the field briefly here. So we've got SSGr3 with Firapennen hot on his heels. Firapennen, I believe, is a pit stop ahead of SSGr3, unless there's been something unexpected on the cameras. Let's just see how quickly Firapennen... Not really contested. Looks like SSGr3 knows that this isn't a real fight on the road at this moment. He's on all the tyres. He's ready to refuel. So... Really smart driving. Now you can just kind of hook onto the toe of that ultra-fast Lambo here of Firapennen and basically make the most of the end of his stint here.
Yeah, he didn't really have anything to say with those tires.
No options whatsoever. And I'm curious whether Solon, who was on kind of a latter half of a stint really, still getting sideways, not much has changed in terms of the not over-aggressive driving style, but just the way that Lamborghini has to be leaned into the corners there. So it looks like he's on the hunt and keen to make the ground he can on SSGr3. Maybe we're starting to see those two drivers come back together in terms of strategies. Be curious to see how many more stops those drivers have got.
Yeah, I think SSGr3 is probably gonna pit. Or is he going another lap?
Oh, can I say SSGr3? That's even better if I can. Is that a good way to pronounce?
Yeah, I think you can say just SSGr3.
Great. Okay, SSGr3 is good. The J really slows me down, you know. Welcome everyone. If you've joined the stream halfway through this race, we're at the Swedish Racing League Round 6. This is Interlagos, world-renowned circuit, known best probably for its Formula 1 season title deciders and very emotional races. Not quite at that stage here in this championship. We've still got a few races left in the calendar, but we are seeing some pretty awesome racing. Speaking of, we've got another 4-car battle back. Literally.
It's a never-ending battle.
Don't you dare pause for a break, guys. If you even think you've got time to go fetch a cup of coffee, go and grab a beer, hold your horses, because we have got line astern here from P7 upwards. Let's see what it looks like from West's point of view. I believe the view behind is pretty clear, so his focus is entirely on what looks like the two Mercedes teammates, maybe not really at a pace to the two guys behind who look super keen to get clear of the Mercedes drivers here. Maybe a clash of strategies at the moment. How's the tyres looking? We've got super softs, and if I step ahead briefly to Egerlanders, we've got super softs and old softs on the cars in front. No wonder we're seeing this kind of bottleneck here.
Yeah, these Mercedes just trying to make their cars as wide as possible to keep these guys behind them.
Oh, and it's a very, very late move. As wide as that Mercedes is, a really, really smart dive there from Egerlanders. Keeps it clean. Let's see if we can go on board with him as he now pushes for the second Mercedes. We'll get back on camera here. I will try and re-show you that move, but there's too much action here. Is it another outbraking maneuver? He's got the tyres. Really smart bit of work here. Now, can West follow suit? Because he's now 2 cars away from his rival, and I believe those two are on very similar strategies at the moment. So that Jaguar has got some work to do. Quick look, if I can, at that move from the cameras. Perfect. It didn't look like it was on, and he just said, "Hello, mate." Didn't even hint at the move. I've got to say, that is cheekier than cheeky, but...
Yeah, that's a super late dive in, and he did it super cleanly as well. Kudos to that.
Yeah, respect to the guys, though. They must be expecting those moves on all soft tyres, and really, if you're going to shut a guy down at that point, you've got to do it early. And finally, it looks like West is making it stick. Final corner. Great move, because that could give him a run.
Goes wide.
Oh, he's got all 4 wheels nearly off the curbing there. Just about keeps the grip, but I think, is that going to cost him coming down into the S's?
Yeah, but I think he has slipstream from the Mercedes ahead, but he definitely has a Mercedes behind him with a better exit speed.
Looks like it will protect him from a kind of return attack there from Gravender, I think it was. I've just jumped to the wrong car, so I've confused myself.
Yeah.
It was Gravender, who is now under immense pressure from a fast-charging T5 Black, who I wouldn't be surprised is in a similar position of being on a slightly fresher stint. Can we...
Yeah, get a push and a little shove.
Mercedes, yeah. I'll see if I can catch that for you in a moment. Really dropping back now. As soon as those tyres start to give, you really aren't given many options. Gravender holding off from Swirl. Let's just keep an eye here. Can Swirl show the grip and the aggression to hold it around the outside?
Yeah, Swirl really trying to capitalize, but he makes it stick in the next turn.
He knows, and to make a move like that, really, you've got to commit. You can't half-heartedly make that move. A quick look back at what happened earlier in the lap. It was either a slight contact or just that Mercedes not having the stability. Possibly touch of both there. Didn't look anything too aggressive, just the two contrasting pace cars were inevitably going to come together in that situation, I think. I'm quickly going to check the gap to the lead. So Egerland is now a whole 12 seconds back. Are the strategies looking very different? No, it looks like similar fuel, similar tyres for Egerlanders. Yeah, there isn't much to separate them, so that looks like a genuine 12-second lead that we've got here to at least Egerlanders. Not sure if there's anyone that's going to surprise us with a strategy here. But let's tune into what looks like T5 Black putting the pressure straight onto West. We saw Egerlanders make great work of kind of clearing those Mercedes, and I think we're seeing him make, what, 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds having done that? Really shows the difference if you can cut through the slower strategy traffic at that point.
Yeah, and you can see as well, one Mercedes has entered the pit, I think.
So he's completely worn those tyres down as far as he can. Maybe it's a less pit stop strategy. Who knows if he's going to try a longer stint now. Curious to know whether that's going to work or whether they lose too much time in the really tyre intensive sections of this track, which I would say is most of it.
Yeah, and the Mercedes being front heavy is not going to be super fun doing a long stint in sector 2 as well.
No, and as that rear gets light, it really doesn't have much weight to kind of ground it when that grip starts to disappear, so all kinds of difficulty. Let's keep an eye on Soil here. He's been eyeing the move up from Black, having made a brilliant pass on the Mercedes just the lap before. You can see the gap behind to that Mercedes is like rapidly increasing at a rate that I'm wondering if it's costly for those cars to be staying out at this point. But, you know, let's not doubt there could be a different strategy at play there. Wide almost from Swirl. He keeps it just about in track limits. Is he going to make the outside work? He's got enough pace. He tries to lean in, but Swirl, there's too much of a Supra still there, my friend. You aren't quite going to get away with it.
He has the inside next, so I think he's going to make it stick.
He's made it.
Makes it even
wow.
before the turn.
I'm staggered. I'm staggered by this. Let's quickly see this.
That's some Superman move.
Brilliant opportunism there. It looked like the Supra had this covered until Swirl said, nope, I'm just going to hang out to dry and you're just going to not put me off, mate. A lot of trust there, I've got to admit. Wouldn't fancy that move in an FIA race, that's for sure.
No, definitely. If it would have been any other way or another series, I think he would have been pushed off.
I think so, and probably given the penalty, I should probably end my Gran Turismo sniping there. I do like playing the game, but back to the action on track. Eraser, we've kind of not tracked him too much here, but I'm just going to say keep an eye on this guy. He's shown pace throughout the last 2 races to be at the front, so... And I think he's heading up the fields in terms of the championship, so...
Yeah, and fun fact as well, Eraser has been to one of the earlier GT Academies.
Really?
So, yeah, he's a GT Academy participant.
So we are in extremely talented company here in the SRL. I'm consistently... well, I shouldn't be surprised by the driving quality, but the caliber is nothing to be shy about. And... quick mention to Scanningen here, who looks like he's made that Porsche work pretty hard here, despite being what I imagine to be the most sluggish car on the straights in terms of raw pace. You really got to make that Porsche work in the technical areas of the circuit.
Yeah, the Porsche was really good. Everybody drove them in the beginning of Gran Turismo, but now it's definitely falling off.
It feels that way, and typically at the moment that is my manufacturer of choice, and despite loving the... let's just keep SSGr3 in mind. He did nearly make the move. I was slightly feeling a rear quarter contact there, which was going to send that Porsche sideways, but really well recovered. SSGr3 again there. Oh, kind of forces the move. Really kind of put the car there. I think he's given that back. Very respectful. He probably could not get that Mercedes stopped in time.
A bit of shunt there from Lambo.
Yeah, a bit of a chain reaction, I think, there. Let's just go back and see if we can watch that from, maybe from Solon's point of view here. Can I get on board quick enough? So yeah, there is a hold up. SSGr3's waited. And now obviously they're going to go aggressive again, having let the position go. Oh, and it's just the brake timing.
Yeah.
And I think we see Solon just rest on the accelerator there to say, hey, no harm intended.
Did Solon pick up any front splitter damage or something?
Let's just see if he's running okay. No, very, very lucky there. And the same, SSGr3's avoided damage. I have to say, that must have been on the verge of damage-worthy contact. Like, there can't have been much left in that. It's a good observation. And I believe it is full damage, isn't it? So if you get the damage, you're carrying it. So Solon kind of maintains that 6th position at the moment. And is it Smunkish there in the Lexus? Again, not sure how his strategy is shaking out here. He does owe a pit stop, whereas Solon may be on a stint to the end here. There are only 11 laps to go. I haven't been tracking the pace of those softs over the full...
Yeah, I think, well, looking at the fuel, Smunkish definitely have to do another pit stop, but I'm not too sure if Solon have to have another pit stop.
Potentially... Mixer, I think we could be seeing Solon with a charge to the end, and this is where it just starts to get a bit dicey because there are guys further up the field, as we see West in the pits, who owe a pit stop. So by no means is this running order anything near the final shape of the race.
How does it look for Firppinen? How does his tires end?
So Firppinen
definitely has to make another pit stop.
Whoa, so West made a pit stop, Firppinen made a pit stop. Let's tune in.
That's gonna be interesting.
Egerlanders needs a pit stop. Let's keep an eye on the front of the field. We've had a good run through the field here, but I think let's check also a Razor. Everybody. So it's going to be down to the tyres they come out on and how much fuel they need to run to the end. And also how long they can run before that pit stop. None of these...
I think the pit stop is quite short on this track, so how far behind is Solon from Firppinen?
Alright, so Solon currently running nearly 30 seconds. Ooh. So there's going to be some amount of gap remaining because I don't believe a pit stop is 30 seconds long. Unless you're going to full fuel or something like that. So that's going to get interesting though. Here we go. Well, we're going to get our answer, guys. Firppinen's in 2 fuel and he's coming off the super softs. Let's try and keep an eye on this as it shakes out for you. The graphic does take a while to update, so looks like super softs again. And where is he going to come out relative to Solon? He's on the pit exit. Solon and SSGr3 here. Still coming into the S's. So Firppinen looks relatively clear of those guys. However, just waiting to see how this shakes out. It's not a huge gap. It's 12 seconds to SSGr3 and Solon, I believe. But Firppinen on the aggressive super soft compound. So it looks like he's got every chance here of holding that gap to some of those guys. Now,
yeah, unless he makes a mistake, I think it's going to be really hard for the guys behind him to actually catch up. It
looks like it because a Razor still due a pit stop, owes 5 seconds to Firppinen and is losing time naturally with those tyres being pretty worn down and you know, that Lambo is not going to be a grippy car in that situation.
You can already see the rear end slipping out really, really far.
Yeah, the control of the car is paramount now. And keep an eye on West. He's a front runner. He is behind Egerlanders, who I think is going to shake out behind Firppinen here. The thing is, if Firppinen is pitted, Egerlanders is pitted, it doesn't look like, again, let's not bring a commentator's curse, but it's going to take something to put Firppinen back into the clutches of these guys. The fight looks like it's going to be between those who have just done their pit stops. I think a Razor, he's made the pit stop.
Yeah, let's see where he ends up now that he's bitten.
Yeah, and it looks like Solon who dropped back there behind Egerlanders. Now, I was a little surprised by that, but I'm wondering if... Okay, so Solon being on that longer strap is just suffering a bit on pace. So we're going to see him trying to hang on to Egerlanders, but I'd be amazed now if he's got the legs to compete with that fast-charging Supra. Interesting here because it looks like SSGr3 is trying to run a bit longer on those super softs, but that's a long time to defend. He's got a solid 7+ laps to run here, nearly 8. Egerlanders, go on, sorry, Mixter.
Yeah, I mean, Filipino with a 13.5-second lead, and there's only so few laps left. Is anybody going to be able to catch up?
Yeah, it looks strong. I mean, it's all down to Filipino keeping it clean. There's always the driver error element in here. It looks like he's no worries with pit stops, no worries with fuel. I think we're going to see a real push here from Egerlanders in third. He needs the clear air. It's his final chance to make ground on Filipino, but I have to say that's a massive gap to bring back. We're looking at 2 seconds a lap here, so it's a tall order for Egerlanders to really push beyond second.
All we can hope for is that Filipino makes a really vital mistake somewhere.
Yeah, which would put all of those guys into a sudden charge to hunt that guy down. Right, my share play stops in 5 minutes.
You gotta reset it.
It's happening. Right, guys, I've got to lose the footage for a brief moment. I'm going to reset this for you. Have a scoreboard. What else can I show? Professionalism as ever. Thanks SharePlay for cutting me short. Let's do it now before the race actually stops. If you just joined, guys, welcome to the Swedish Racing League round 6. I'm currently SharePlaying and co-commentating with Mixter here. Let's stop that SharePlay. Hello, Mixter. How's it been as a race for you, man, while I set this back up for you?
Super exciting race. We've seen some really tight competitive racing between, I don't know, like 8 cars going side by side through 4 corners. It's been spectacular so far.
I agree.
Filipino just leaps and bounds ahead of people. He's currently 13 seconds ahead.
Yeah, and really kind of hasn't been shaken since that first lap. We saw him make what I said at the time was a pretty important breakaway from the field. He got out of the slipstream within 1 to 2 laps, really, and the raw pace of Filipino, despite his weight ballast showing, I'm just going to pick up here. I think I can see a battle on track, but I sure as heck can't find it. It looks like Solon being overtaken by the faster running West, who, if I'm correct, is on the fresher tyres now. So we're starting to see the front guys who are going to be battling for the podium. As we've said, Filipino now nearly up to 15 seconds. We're not expecting any shocks there, no late pit stops. Egerlanders with a confident run, but SSGr3, or SSGr3, he is not dropping Egerlanders yet, despite being on much older tyres. So a very, very respectable run. But what we're going to see now is the efforts of West, who I believe is on those super softs. If I quickly flick over, yeah, he's got the super soft tyres. SSGr3 also on the super softs, but he's been running them for several laps longer.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a really hard time trying to defend against West, since the tire difference.
I think so, and it's kind of damage limitation now, isn't it? It's do you fight and spare yourself a position? I may just have to. I'm getting a little glitch here on the keyboard here. It's giving me 0 control. Right, are we back? Can I go on board? No onboard views. Don't you love a Gran Turismo glitch? We'll do it the old school way. Here you go. So let's pick up the battle. West is biding his time, but knows now he needs to make this move on SSGr3. If he wants to fight Egerlanders for P2, it's kind of a now or never situation. What are we on? 4 laps to go? 5 laps including this one?
Yeah, he's definitely gonna have to step on it. I think he's probably gonna make his move up towards the next corner, going up on the inside. See if SSGr3 is gonna defend heavily or not.
I'm not hanging about, although some very, very impressive late braking there, but a little bit of a nudge from West just to say, hey man, I've got this.
Yeah, but nothing too severe.
No.
Didn't really shun him, just a little bit of contact, putting SSGr3, putting him off balance a bit.
Exactly, just enough to secure the position without kind of anything disrespectful. Quick look back at that if I can. No, so my whole keyboard is disconnected. I'm debating. I'm going to reconnect it quick. Let's just.
The good old unplug and plug in.
Yeah, we're replugging that keyboard in. It says I've got a keyboard. Is it working? It's working. We've recovered it. The keyboard has reconnected.
Yeah, it's not just the drivers who are having a hard time here.
It's the commentary booth not working again. Let's have a quick run down the field while I've got the time, because usually in the last 3 laps it's very difficult to look away from the front. So Solon leading a group of cars here who may all now be on strategies that put them in a more aggressive position in the race. Speaking of, is that the move there from Abramson? Oh no, it looks like we've had a spin. Is that just 2 wheels on the grass? I'll try and chase that for you. Thank goodness I've got the replay fixed. I couldn't have fared to not know.
Let's see, is it all in the spins?
It looks like it. I'm just going to try and go on board because we need to see this. It's 2 wheels down. Oh, there's
2 wheels on the grass.
Barely even a wheel down. That's crushing end. And Solon, a good runner in the championship. I don't even know if he's carried on. That was just a replay glitch, I think. He'll be back on the road. Is that a front runner? No, so Solon, just as you said before, just outside the top 10, but that was a huge moment in terms of his contention for kind of climbing the standings today, so yeah, can only feel for him there. There's nothing worse than that happening, and I'm pretty sure it's happened to all of us. Let's go back to re-pick up the group, because I know the action was still ongoing. We've got T5 Black hunting on Abramson, who himself now is on the chase to La Sajaja, who is only 3 seconds up the road and we know isn't on optimum tyres, so it's kind of a survival game. Quick check on West ahead here. He still has 2.9 seconds to gain, and La Sajaja there. Sorry, go on, mate.
West has lost a bit of time here up to Egelanders.
It looks like it. It may be that West has kind of pushed the best of his car, trying to get to where he is now. It is easy to do. Let's keep an eye on this battle group here, because we have got the likes of Swirl and Eraser in the Lamborghinis side by side, but also, I think, more worried about passing the 2 guys ahead. There's contact! I think Eraser has held it. Not too dramatic, just a bit of late braking and dirty tyres there on the outside edge. I just don't know where to look.
And as you can see, I mean, these 2 guys are in the same team, but they give no quarter.
They give no quarter, even as teammates. And that's Eraser with the inside. Sideways Lamborghinis. It looks like Eraser. Yeah, he's held it to Swirl at the moment. However, this is Swirl. We've seen what he's capable of. He will pull a move out of anywhere if the last race isn't anything to go by. So Abramson still leads the chain. T5 Black. Maybe a move here down the straight. Let's try and keep an eye on that. There are some good battles further back. If I can catch them in a minute, I will rush back to them. But really, the heart of the action is kind of these top 8 positions.
Gonna dive for the inside.
Waiting to see the move. It didn't look like it was there, but I think minor contact.
But he's probably gonna get a better runoff here.
Yeah, and it might have compromised the line.
Now he has a racer behind him.
Let's look. We've got a Lamborghini in the mirrors with, as you say, Eraser. Surely got to make the move now. If he doesn't do it now, he's risking a move being made himself. Slight tap on Abramson there. Is that going to put the Mercedes in danger from
the
Eraser?
is going to capitalize on that move as well.
Absolutely right, Mixter. I'm just waiting to see if he's got the momentum to carry that. He has. So poor Abramson finds himself, as often is the case, you lose one place and the rest of the field says, do you know what, mate? If you're going backwards, I'm going to join that train forwards. I'll catch you later.
Yeah, Swirl is definitely going to push hard now. He has Abramson right in his lap.
And also knowing those 2 guys in front of Abramson, Razor and T5, they're not going to wait to go here. They're going to think, right, let's get out of here before that Swirl gets his move done. So Difficult to know where to look here to see what's going to happen first. Quick check at the front. Fiorpennon commanding lead, starting his final lap. Let's try and catch him crossing the line. He's really, really drove everyone off the circuit today with weight ballast as well. Egerlander's a secure second, but only as secure as a mistake because West has monitored and kept that gap under 3 seconds. Lassazaja, similar gap to West, a bit further back now. We know he hasn't got the tyres to be aggressive, but credit to this guy because he has fended off so far the charge.
Wait, did T5 overtake again?
It looks like T5 has taken a razor. If he wasn't, I think T5 may have got a razor there or has held off. I can't remember what order they were in last lap, but solid move.
T5 was ahead of a racer, but he was super close coming up to the start-finish line.
Oh, good spot. So that's changed places again. We cannot look in the right place for love or money here. Swoyle, importantly, still stuck in that Mercedes sandwich. I don't know if that's going to change by the end. It takes a real run out of the final corner if you're going to get it before the start-finish straight. Huge moment for Fiorpennon here, having been at the back of the last race, the front of the race before. Brilliant victory here at Interlagos. Stylish wiggle over the line.
You gotta give it up to the man.
You've got to give it to him, and I think a huge confidence boost after the last race. So congratulations, Fiorpennon. Flawless drive, if I dare say it. Egerlander's a huge second to consistent runner here. We've got to watch this guy in the next races. Congratulations to West, who kept him honest, grabs the podium position, and a pretty impressive run from Lassazaja. And it's T5 who secures 5th, Eraser 6th, Abramson in 8th. Swoyle could not better 8th. Sorry, Abramson 7th, Swoyle 8th. Thought Swoyle had a bit more left in him there, but I think just couldn't get the opportunity on the very...
I don't think he had the tires to actually do it. That's why Eraser overtook him.
Great observation there, actually. Yeah, because Gran Turismo robs us of the finish screen there. As always, let me bring that up for you.
At least we get to see Fiorpennon.
With a basically perfect run, if I'm allowed to say it, man.
Was superb.
You don't see it often. Good evening, everyone. I hope that was a good race for you to watch. Thanks, everyone who's kept tuned in for that, for your patience while we got that set up and had a few Discord dilemmas. Let's give you a rundown. Continuing from Swoyle there, Gravender, who I think had a really promising start from the grid. I think just struggled to secure, both Mercedes really struggled to secure high positions in the end. Possibly just down to a strategy.
Yeah, I think it was strategy as well.
Possibly just like running that little bit long on those soft tyres was a costly middle stint, but
yeah, definitely.
You know, very respectful driving, no less. Chio, a strong run, who I believe was who I saw at the back of the field by some degree due to an event we missed.
Yeah, he must have been in an accident or something because he was dead last and with a good amount of distance towards the pack as well.
That's an incredible comeback, as you say. Major effort. And also, it maybe just shows what the clean air does, because we saw Fiorpennon and Chio make huge ground, whereas everyone else kind of forward and back with the gaps throughout the race. So,
yeah.
Then Stillinger down with a strong run from the back of the grid, I believe, there, at least from the back row. Scanningham bringing the Porsche home, very respectable run. Smunkish P13 in the Lexus. Mikkeller, I did think that FT1 would show a bit more pace with its power, but maybe just not the best run for him. And Solon, I believe, after that unfortunate 2 wheels into the S's turn 1, realised his race was run there, so he didn't really get the opportunity to fight back with that. If you're going to have a moment like that, you want to do it like Chio did on the first lap and just give yourself
definitely
a race to run back.
And also Fiorpennon taking the fastest lap as well.
Well spotted, I hadn't even seen that. That's pretty much taking everything, isn't it?
Yep, fastest lap and also the winner of today's race.
Yeah, huge congrats. Someday we'll plug in the technology to plug into Fiorpennon and ask him how he feels. Get a bit of a driver interview in there at some point. He's probably riding off adrenaline at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Well played to him. And to the podium guys there. West in third, and Egerlanders rounding up in second. Anything else you want to point out from that race, Mixter? It's flown by
really.
for me. Yeah. 1 minute we were 10 laps in wondering what the strategy was. Suddenly I'm realizing we don't know where to look because the strategies have compressed again. So
yeah, it was so much going on. Really hard to keep up. And I think if either one of us would have been commentating alone, we wouldn't have a voice left.
I'm already at the thin end of mine, let me tell you. I always get a bit of a like cigar creak, you know, like
I can definitely hear it.
Yeah, a night on the whiskey kind of vibe.
Yep.
So unfortunately, that's not what I'm doing, but you know, it could be built into future streams depending how
definitely
how PC we are. But
and also this was only a guest commentating for me, but I don't know. I've sort of been bitten by the bug. It was really fun doing a co-commentating.
Thank you so much for doing it. And on very last minute, I should give Mixed a huge shout here. This was arranged about 20 minutes ahead of the qualifying beginning, and we were having very, very quick conversations about how to get this audio working, how to share the screen, and not blow up the stream at the same time. So mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've actually loved having the co-commentary. Thanks for bringing a bit of knowledge.
I think we have to do this again.
Yeah, I'm hoping you can make it next week, but I know you have commitments too. So fingers crossed, same time next week, same crowd, and hopefully as many of you tuning in as you did. We had a good full stream as well. Mixer does run a YouTube channel as well. So what YouTube channel is it you run, if you're still active on that? Tell me to shut up if it's all...
It's sort of half active. I have edited when I was racing, these fictional teams that we have, I made some team videos, team edits with music and stuff, so you can check that out at Backup Bump on YouTube.
There you go.
So Backup Bump, and there's a dog in the picture with sunglasses.
There you go. What more can you need? And
exactly.
Guys, if you missed a bit, obviously you can replay it here on the stream at any point, and it does go up on the SRL YouTube channel, so you'll hear us having Discord faff, SharePlay faff, and in between that, some pretty lively race commentary. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in, and again, Mixed, it's been a pleasure. Let's re-tune in next Monday.
Thanks for having me, Frank.
No worries, man. It's been awesome. I'm going to sign off and see